starting with the basics, what brought you the idea of starting there?
I think I'm going to start, and I know she'll take over eventually anyways. I think it was my indecisiveness, my absolute impulse to leave another company yet again to move to Bombay. And it so happened I was lucky enough that at the same time she was graduating from college. And she said that, you know what, let's just do something together, stay back in Delhi, and we'll build our own brand over here. Now that you've got enough experience in the last 4 or 5 years of handling marketing with different brands. And she's a very passionate partner, a very passionate business partner to have. And that's how Dare came into being. It took us just 8 months to launch the brand, because I think more than me, she spent almost 14, 15 hours working every day to launch it. So that's how the idea came about. That's how the brand came to be. And I'm going to leave it to her.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is there. I think we were at cross sections and we just decided to plunge in and give it a shot of working together, because we both have our pluses and minuses, and I think we balance each other out. So I think that gave us an upper hand of not even thinking before starting the brand.
So, like, Dare is a very unique name. And, like, when we were conversating lately or regarding your session, I spoke there and people were like, what is Dare? So, I told them it's the name of their brand. So, what significance does this name hold for you? What is the idea of behind this name, Dare?
What does Dare mean to you?
Dare is just, you get it here at a particular location or something like that.
So that's what Dare means. Whatever you want to define it as is a definition of Dare. We decided not to give Dare a definition because
You are there.
You are there, and secondly, I feel we already live in a society where everything, from the minute we are born till the minute we go to college, till the time we decide who we're going to marry, everything for us is defined. Like, I just feel in the society we live in, we were given those definitions at 16. You need to graduate class 10th. Why can I not graduate class 10th at 18 years old?
Exactly.
Why does it mean that when I'm 20 years old I need to start looking for a boy for me? So there is a space where you come in and you define what the brand means to you. We don't want to give you a definition for it. What's the point? Otherwise, it's your freedom completely.
Pretty well thought. So, we were reading about your brand, and we got to know that you support local artisans and workers through your brand, which is also one of the reasons you decided not to set up your own factory so that you keep giving them employment. But do you feel that this decision is somewhere going to impact the growth of your brand? Because lately you've been making a significant growth in your sales, and cooperating with a large number of orders and then cooperating with the artisans on the other end is all the more a hectic process. So what do you think? Is it somewhere impacting the growth, or like it's going up feasibly?
Before Gayatri answers this, because it's completely her department, had that been the case, I don't think both of us would have had the time to come and have this chat right now. I think our team is so efficient, even though it's outsourced. So yeah, over to you.
And I think when the resources are underutilized, and you're giving them the capacity to put them to use at their best, at their fullest, then you don't have a problem. When you overutilize, that's the problem. When you underutilize, that's the problem. But when you're at an equilibrium where both of you match, that's not going to be the problem ever. So the kind of artisans and the kind of factories that we have outsourced our work to are in sync with us. We plan it in such a way that, okay, if they have a lot of load in their work, we will give them work that they can balance out. So we plan in a way that, touch wood, till now we've not had a problem. And I think setting up our own factories also is not an easy walk. I think that takes up a lot more energy, and that takes up a lot more at hand, because you have everyday running costs. You have tailors to look after. You have to make sure that they're coming on time, they're leaving on time. So I think that everything has its pros and cons, but outsourcing to local artisans and to factories has worked well for us. And at the same time, we're using resources that are in use, and not trying to waste by employing even more. So yeah.
that adds the factor of uniqueness to your designs, because every artisan has a thought process of his own and it adds to the designs. So moving on to the next question, denims are not usually counted in the formal clothing section. Like, people don't usually carry a denim to a meeting, but then you people aim at, bringing that change in the trend and including denims in the formal clothing line. So do you think that this is really possible in the near future?
Near future, really, I'm sitting right in front of you over here right now, attending a formal event in our denim jackets. Does it get more futuristic than this?
Definitely, definitely. So, like, it's great to witness brands like you who are inculcating these new trends and bringing a change, really. So, we read about it a lot about the brand, and the only thing that is why we gave the name Raising the Bar with the Blunsels, because you people have been raising the bars for each and every one out there. So there comes the next question, that what were the reactions of your family members when you proposed them the idea of starting your own brand? And since both of you belong to the business world and you switched to a brand which is completely based on fashion and you didn't have really much connection to that area, so what was their reaction?
I think our family has been extremely supportive of whatever we wanted to do in life. They've always sit down and weighed the pros and cons with us, but at the end of the day, they tell us, you do what your heart tells you to, you do what you want to do. And if
Mhm.
that makes you happy, because even if uh, we end up choosing what they feel is correct, we might end up making mistakes, and we might end up making mistakes in our own business, which we
Mhm.
do. We are human, we all end up making mistakes, but we learn from it. And I think learning and growing on your own is extremely important, and that's what they've always let us do and continue to. So I think our family's been extremely supportive. We don't have to be scared, or ask them, okay, can we do this? They'll sit and tell us, okay, approach this in this manner or that manner, and maybe see how it works.
But
But
no, I think I will take the credit for all of this.
agreed.
Had it, I've been that child who, that there'll be so many of us in the audience right now who will relate to this. I've been a backbencher all my life. Okay. I used to get called to my principal's office almost every month, and I would never end up outside his office ever. I would end up making some bahana or some excuse or the other. My mom was often called to school by my headmistress, by my teachers, by my in charges to say that this girl bunks her classes a lot. Like, she's never in class. And by that time, I think my parents had realized that no matter how much when you try to hold sand in your hand and it just keeps going away, I think my parents realize I'm sand. The more they try to hold me back, the more I'm trying to push, the more trying to go away from them or from their hands. And I think it was back then when I started setting a sort of expectation from them that I know you guys don't agree with the way I lead or approach life, but this is who I am and this is what I'm going to do. So when it came down to us starting a business also, they had become so accustomed to the idea that Ankita will only do what she wants to do. And the fact that she has Gayatri's support in it, that gave them, of course, that gave them the kind of, security ke, acha, they'll be fine together. So it's not that we're not scared of our parents. Of course, we're really scared of our parents, but somehow I look at my parents and I'm like, wait, before being my parents, they're human beings. So
Yes.
you know what? I can trick them the way I want to trick them and get my way around. I mean, this is not to say you guys can trick your parents. Please don't do that. But it works for me because my family and my mom and dad really understand this part of my life. And she is a huge cushion to fall back on for me. So I think we've been lucky in that regard. But if I tread too further into this territory with my parents, I think even I might fall into some trouble. So these days I'm trying to maintain a low quotient and low bar and like keeping it under wraps with them.